Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Colorful Crafting with Holly, and I'm here today to do a WIP and chat, which is something that I have been trying to do for over a week. I have a bit of a story regarding that for you, but I have a little bit of a different setup for you guys today. Usually I tend to make my videos upstairs featuring the lovely rescue cat Sophie. She always likes to come out for the camera when I'm doing unboxings. But today I'm downstairs. I'm in the little dining nook in the kitchen, and I'm gonna try and make this work. Full disclosure, I do also have 2 rescue dogs, and you might hear them in the background. I also have a roommate who you also might hear roaming around in the background. Hopefully I won't let it distract me. I do have to admit, I feel a little awkward doing this with creatures big and small surrounding me, which is why I tend to try and do this by myself upstairs. But we're gonna make this work today. So if you guys are new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. I hope you like what you see and consider subscribing to my channel. Your support really means a great deal to me. And if you're returning, thank you so much. I love you guys and really appreciate all of the comments and love that I've been getting from you guys. So if you don't know what a WIP and chat is, WIP stands for work in progress. So this is my current work in progress, and I'm going to sit here and babble at you for a little while while you also work on whatever your current project is. And it can be anything you want. It could be crochet, knitting, diamond painting, cross stitch. You could be just sitting and relaxing on the beach, cleaning your house, vacuuming the floor. Maybe not vacuuming the floor, because then you wouldn't be able to hear my lovely voice. Whatever you feel like doing, just grab a tasty beverage, sit back, and we'll chat for a little while. So the project I am currently working on is Dawn from Distracted by Diamonds. I finally finished Sandy. I finished it last Sunday. I worked on it for 32 days, 72 hours. That was the biggest project I have worked on yet. And this one is considerably smaller. Not that much smaller, actually, but it is smaller. Anyhow, I started it yesterday, did this whole section yesterday, sitting on the back deck, which was nice. What is underneath here? Oh, God. Okay. Maybe make sure the table is completely free of crumbs when you set up your diamond painting, Holly, next time. But I digress. Anyhow, so let me show you what I'm working with here. Like I said, my kit is Dawn from Distracted by Diamonds by the amazing artist Geneva Bowers. And my needle minders, I think they're in frame. Both, I believe, are from Mad for Minders. We've got Pooh and Piglet and then Little Baby Yoda. The pens I'm using, this one I'm only using it for the multi-placer because the tips keep coming out, which is kind of frustrating because I really love the colors of this pen. And it's from, what the heck am I doing? Why am I not in frame? Okay. It's from Layson Lathworks over on Etsy. And this is one of Bella Art D. Nicole, I'm saying that wrong probably, one of her curved multi-placers. It's a 6-placer. And this one is from the amazing TJ over at Custom Pens from TJ, by TJ. Okay. And I just won this last week. So this is the first time I'm using it. Well, yesterday was the first time using it. I love his pens. They're always, because I like a thicker pen, because the thinner ones tend to hurt my hand. So I really love this one. And as far as storage, typical. And we're going to be working with the symbol. Ooh. Oh my God, what is wrong with me? Okay, anyway. let me get comfortable here. Something tells me this is going to be an interesting whip and chat. Hopefully you guys bear with me. Okay, so 5 minutes in, this is a great start to this whip and chat. So the story that I was going to tell you about me attempting to do a whip and chat for a week. I went upstairs, got my whole setup ready to go, hit record on my phone, and Sophie, my little fluff ball that I love so much, lost her shit for some reason and decided she was not going to have me ignore her. So she got up on my desk, walked around on my painting, on the canvas. She climbed on me, which she never does, climbed on my back and around my neck, and just was being very, very sassy. So I abandoned my plans, or my attempt at doing a whip and chat last week. So I did not feel like attempting to, I feel like this is not in frame. Sorry for moving you around. And it's probably a little bouncy as well. Okay. Anyway, I abandoned all attempts at doing a whip and chat upstairs. She also went to the vet this past week. That was a whole thing. It was just a checkup. She had her annual visit. She does not like being taken to the vet. I don't think any cat does. She was fine when she came home. She was a little angry, but she was all right. And then later in the day, I couldn't find her, and that's very unusual because I usually know all her spots. So old roommate Tom and I tried to find her, and I panicked, even though I knew there was really no way she could have gotten out of the house. I panicked because I thought she was gone, but she was just hiding under the spare bed, and she was not happy to be disturbed. She was not happy that we were scared, didn't know where she was, and she was not happy to come out. So she proceeded to hide from me for the rest of the day. She did not eat, she did not drink, she didn't even use her litter pan. So me being the first time cat owner and just all around worrywart, got very nervous and thought something was seriously wrong with her, but happy to report she's back to her normal self now. She was off of her wet food for a few days, or not a few days, like probably 48 hours, but now she's back to eating normally. I just have to remind myself that it's normal for a cat to be upset when you break their routine. What I need to do is just not worry as much as I do. That's asking a lot, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Anyway, so what I thought I would do today, I thought I would have a subject to talk about with you guys. So today I even made notes and everything like a professional YouTube content creator. Aren't you proud of me? I decided a good subject that we can start off with, this is a good get to know you kind of thing, is I would tell you about some of my favorite things. My favorite music, movies, TV, that kind of thing. And I would limit myself to like 2 or 3 of each category, because otherwise I would probably be here all day. So we're going to start with music, because I think music and books probably have had overall the biggest impression on my life. So I have tattoos. I don't know if I've ever talked about them on this channel. I have 3 tattoos. 2 of them are music related. So this one right here, I can't, sorry, I'm not like a contortionist. Hopefully you can see that. This is the Chinese symbol for hope. I got this probably about 15 years ago. I think it's held up really well, actually. This hurt like a bitch when I got it. Jesus. I am really off with my positioning right now. Hang on. It's like I've never operated a fucking camera phone before. All right, anyway. I got it about 15 years ago or so when my dad was really sick. And I thought it would be a bit of, you know, encouragement for me to get through a really, really difficult time. And the funny thing is that my dad hated tattoos. My roommate hates tattoos as well. But I never actually told my dad that I got the tattoo, which is ironic because I got it for him. But my dad at that point was legally blind, so he didn't, it's not like he could have like spotted it. I didn't have to hide it from him. And then we have this one. Jesus. All right, I'm gonna move you. I know it's gonna be a little. All right. You probably can't read it because unfortunately this one has not held up as well as my first tattoo. But this tattoo is for the band 21 Pilots. And this is their symbol, or one iteration of their symbol. And then these two lines are lyrics from the song Car Radio. And it says, "Peace will win, fear will lose." Kind of bummed that I guess the font that the tattoo artist chose wasn't meant to hold up as well, maybe, I don't know. But it looks kind of blurry now, but I've made peace with it. It's kind of one of those things where, you know what it means and it's special to you. It doesn't really matter if anybody else gets it. So, I'm stuck to my canvas. Oh, that was really stupid. Okay, let's get you back up here. All right, anyway. Okay, sorry for the jiggly cami, you guys. Okay, so 21 Pilots, favorite band. I've loved them for probably about 5 or 6 years at this point. And the very first, well, one of the reasons why I got that lyric tattooed on me, not only because, I just like it, was because that was the first song that really made a huge impact on me by them. The video and the song for Car Radio. And it had been a very, very, very long time since I had been so affected by a band and their music. And I just became obsessed with 21 Pilots. And, some people think, they're like a teeny bopper band. Teeny bopper, that really makes me sound old. A lot of people think that their music is more for kids. But I've been to 5 concerts at this point. And let me tell you something. There are plenty of mature fans. I'll call myself mature to be kind. Because, their music, I think, transcends age. And I just think Tyler Joseph, who is the singer and the songwriter behind all of their songs, I think he's like a little boy genius. I think he's got a very, very special talent. And I love him to death. I think he's an amazingly gifted person. So that's why I got that tattoo. And it's, like I said, even though it's blurry and, he could have done a better job doing the tattoo, it still means a lot to me because, you know, of the reasoning behind it, because those lyrics mean a lot to me. The song means a lot to me, and the band obviously means a lot to me. So they're my favorite band. Speaking of whom, they just they just released a new album, which is called Scaled and Icy, which sounded like a very strange title for an album until you actually listen to the songs, and then it kind of makes sense. And something about 21 Pilots that people who don't really listen to them know. Pretty much all of their albums have themes that run through them, and like the last 3 albums have all been linked. They all 3 of them sound very, very different, but lyrically and story-wise, they're all linked. So they've created like this whole world within the songs, which I just think is awesome. So they did this massive live stream on a Friday, and the roommate watched it with me, which I was amazed that he decided he was going to watch it with me. And he was impressed, and he was getting into it, and it made me a happy girl. And I was saying to myself as I went to bed Friday, with all the shit that's been going on, and all the stress, and the vast amount of really crappy days that I've had over the last year, really, Friday night was probably the most fun and the happiest I've been in at least a year. So, and I told my roommate, I was like, you know what? I miss concerts. I miss going to concerts and just like experiencing the music in person, but live stream, you know, it's perfect for me because I get to hear the music that I love by the bands and singers that I love, but I don't have to interact with any people. How perfect can it be? So bands can continue to do live streams forever as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know, let me know, you guys, if you like them, if you have heard any of their music. Because I don't really have very many like real world friends who like them. So it'd be cool to find somebody else who does, because I can fangirl with you. Yes, a 40-something-year-old woman is still allowed to fangirl. Because Lord knows, I still fangirl over Charlie Hunnam. And Sons of Anarchy has been off the air for like 4 or 5 years now. Still fangirl over him. He's still my dream man. Anyhow, okay, so 21 Pilots, favorite band. I need to add a little bit of wax. So my third tattoo, which unfortunately I am not going to be showing you, is on my leg. It is on the outside of my left calf. And it is where is my wax? Oh, here it is. It is an honor for another one of my favorite bands, who are called the 1975. They are a British band fronted by a gentleman named Matty Healy, who is another brilliant young songwriter. And their music, while completely different from 21 Pilots, has also made a huge impact on me. And actually, funny thing is that I discovered both bands the same year, around the same time. So that was a good music year for Holly. Sorry, I keep moving this. Okay, anyway. 1975. So the tattoo that I have is on the outside of my left calf. And if you've never seen one of their albums, one of the 1975's albums, which you probably haven't, the symbol that's always on, the artwork that's always on their albums is this box. It looks like a doorway. And so I have the box, the doorway, on my leg, and on the inside it has the lyrics, my place is not permanent. Oh my God, that's not what it says. And I knew it as it was coming out of my mouth that it was wrong. The lyrics are, my place is not deliberate. Where I got permanent from, Anyway, which is from my favorite song, which is called Falling for You, which is just about the most beautiful love song slash tearjerker. I can't tell you how many times I've cried listening to that song. And Maddie's lyrics are very often open to interpretation. So those lyrics just mean a lot to me. And the line in the song is, according to your heart, my place is not deliberate. And you can take that many different ways. But it meant something to me, so that's why I had it for my tattoo. And see, I always said that if I ever got a tattoo, they would have to mean something. I wasn't gonna, you guys, this is a true story. One of my first jobs was as a fruit chunker at a grocery store when I was in high school. And one day I saw a guy checking out who obviously had either lost a bet or gotten very, very drunk and visited a tattoo parlor, because tattooed across his forehead was a school of fish. And to this day, that is the weirdest tattoo I've ever seen. Yeah, anyway, so I didn't want to be that guy. I wanted to get a tattoo that meant something. So I can honestly say all three of my tattoos mean something to me. So there you go. So those are my two favorite bands, 21 Pilots and the 1975. Some of the other bands that I like or I love are the Killers. I could tell you a story about going to see the Killers live in June. Can't remember how many years ago. It was probably a good 4 or 5 years ago, at an outdoor arena, and I almost passed out. Literally, they called security because people around me said she's going down. All right, I'll keep it brief. I'll tell you the story. Okay, so they played at this venue in Atlantic City at the Borgata. This venue lasted one summer. What the freaking hell? Okay. It lasted one summer, and they had many issues with it. But this was like the opening weekend concert was the Killers. And I got there super early because I have a lot of experience going to concerts that are general admission, and that means that there's no seats, and ending up at the very back of the arena. And I'm short, so if I'm going to a concert, I want to at least be able to see something. So I got there early. It was, I think the heat index was like 105 that day. I didn't eat anything. I didn't drink anything. You can kind of figure out where this is going. It was mayhem when they opened the gate. Everybody ran, and I got caught up in this surge of people running towards the stage. And on the one hand, it was good because I ended up at the barricade, right at the very front of the stage. But it was bad because I was kind of disoriented by the time I got shoved up there. And within about 5 minutes of getting my spot, I started to see black dots in my vision. And I got very dizzy. And I think I honestly blacked out for a couple seconds, because 1 minute I'm standing there and I'm saying to myself, I really don't feel well. And then the next, I have two people behind me, like with their hands on my shoulders. And somebody's handed me a bottle of water. Somebody else handed me animal crackers. It was a thing. But still, having said that, the concert itself ended up being a really good time. So I had a good time. And anyway, so that's it for my favorite music. I mean, there's plenty of other bands and singers that I love, but those are my top people. I had a flash for a second because I thought I was using the wrong symbol, the wrong drill, but I'm not. Okay, so looking at my notes, because I'm a professional YouTuber, you know, I only stumble over my words and, you know, lose track of what I'm saying like 20 times in a video, but I'm professional. Anyway, so Let's move on to TV. I've said this before, I don't really watch much TV anymore. I used to watch everything. When I was taking care of my dad, and before that, when I was taking care of my mom, I mean, I watched a ton of television, but I don't really watch anything anymore, except, you know, the roommate and I, every night while we have dinner, we watch an episode of Modern Family. It's like a tradition. We've seen all these episodes like 20 times, but they're still entertaining. So I can say that Modern Family is one of my favorite shows of all time. It's very, very, you know, just makes you feel good. Do you got any of you out there watch Modern Family? I love that show. My favorite character will always be Phil, because he's just such a goofy little, you know, happy-go-lucky guy. But the character that I just cannot stand is Alex, the middle child of Claire and Phil, because she's like the straight A student, the real smart one, and she's never misses an opportunity to make the rest of her family feel like idiots. And I've just known too many people like that in my real life to ever like that character. So that's definitely a favorite. And then, well, my favorite show of all time is actually Psych, which used to be on USA. I don't know if any of you out there have heard of it. It is an absolutely ridiculous show. It's about a guy who just has very good observational skills, who becomes a fake psychic for the Santa Barbara Police Department. It's supposed to be a mystery show. It's never really a mystery who the bad guys are, you know, plot-wise and everything like that. It's just really ridiculous and silly and bordering on stupid. What makes it for me is just the characters of Sean and Gus. I love them. They're my two favorite fictional characters of, you know, well, maybe like top 5. But I love Sean and Gus so much that I always said that if I got another dog or cat and it was a boy, I would name it either Gus or Spencer, because I just don't like the name Sean. Yeah, so I love that show. And it used to be, before I moved in with the roommate, before my life with the roommate began, like 300 years ago, it used to be when I would have a really, really, really bad day, the only thing that would make me feel better is watching old episodes of Psych. And it was my happy place. Before my dad passed away, my happy place used to be Scrubs. I loved that show. But I have so many memories associated with that time of my life when my dad was getting sick and that really bad time of my life. I can't watch Scrubs anymore, unfortunately, because it just brings me back to a really bad period. So when that happened, I need a few more drills. So when that happened, I found Psych. And ever since then, it has been my happy place. And I just love it so much. And let's see. Well, another one of my favorite shows that has a lot of happy memories associated with it is Mystery Science Theater 3000. I discovered it back in the 90s, the Stone Ages, when it was on Comedy Central. It was on in the middle of the night, and I had no idea what the hell it was. I was so confused by it at first. And then I just like fell in love with it. And for those of you who don't know, I think most people, even if you've never actually seen an episode, have a good idea of what Mystery Science Theater 3000 is. But the premise is this guy gets shot up into space, and he makes these 2 robot companions to keep him company, and they are forced to watch really, really, really bad movies, and they like riff on them, make fun of them. Another instance of a really stupid concept that works for some reason. And yeah, so they actually are bringing it back. They brought it back once before, and it got picked up by Netflix after they did a Kickstarter. But Netflix, I get the impression Netflix doesn't really support some of its independent shows. I think that if a show is not making a lot of money for them, they tend to give up on it, which is why a lot, and look at it and you'll see that I'm right. A lot of the like TV shows that their original shows seem to end after 3 seasons. But they got dropped by Netflix. So Joel, the creator of the show, decided to do another Kickstarter so they could create their own streaming platform and not have to rely on a network. And they far surpassed their goal. So there will be a new season, which is very exciting. Yeah, so I love that show. I have so many happy memories associated with that show. Yeah, so there you go. Oh, another one of my favorite shows is a lot of people I know's favorite show, and that's The Office. But I will put a caveat, and that is The Office with Michael Scott. I stopped watching the show when Steve Carell left. Some people think that makes me not a real fan, but the show wasn't The Office anymore when Michael left. I did watch the last episode when he came back. But yeah, I'm also a fan of the British version. Yeah, so that's another show I like. My goodness, I'm already at 31 minutes on this. I'm talking more than I thought I would, because I was saying to myself before I started today, are you going to be able to talk about stuff for half an hour or so? Silly me. Okay, so let's move on to favorite. Actually, you know what? I'm going to add something. Podcasts. I didn't write this down, but I am a podcast listening bitch. I don't listen to that many, but the ones that I do, I get obsessive over. So what podcasts do you guys listen to? Because it seems to be very popular to listen to podcasts while you're diamond painting or crafting in general. So in the comment section, suggest some podcasts for me, because I'm always looking for new ones. So my favorite podcast, I tend to like the true crime type podcasts, but my two favorite podcasts would have to be Time Suck with Dan Cummins, which is not really true crime. I mean, he talks about serial killers and stuff, but it's more history based. That was really one of the first podcasts that I got like super into, and I just think he's very creative and support everything that he does. And he has several other podcasts now too. He has one that he does with the producer of his show, which is called Is We Dumb? Not a huge fan of that one, simply because his producer irritates me. He just irritates me. But he also has one called Scared to Death, which he does with his wife, that I really like. Because, you know, I love all things horror. And it's basically just the two of them telling each other scary stories. So it's very entertaining. I need to change my color. Let's see, what are we going to do? I think we're going to do the L over here. I love the colors in this diamond painting. For those of you who follow me over on Instagram, hey, how are you? Thanks for following me over there. You might have seen me post that I was going to, my next project was going to be a completely different diamond painting. But I just recently got this one after trying for a very long time and decided this is the one that I wanted to do. Even though it's more confetti heavy than the other one. This one has a lot of color blocking further up the painting though. But yeah, I'm loving this so far. It just makes me happy. Anyway, okay, so another one of my favorite podcasts, it's actually 2 podcasts, but I consider it more like one because they're both done by the same dudes, and it's Small Town Murder and Crime and Sports. They're both done by these 2 comedians named James Petrogallo and Jimmy Wisman. And I first discovered Small Town Murder because, like I said, I love true crime podcasts. And I wanted to find a podcast that had a lot of episodes because I tend to like to binge when I find one that I like. And then a little while later, they were always talking about crime and sports, and I am not a sports fan. So I kind of put off listening to it. Then I was almost caught up with Small Town Murder and decided to listen to Crime and Sports, and I'm so glad that I did, because actually it has very little to do with sports. It's more just them telling stories about fucked up stuff that people who just happen to be athletes have done. And they're really funny and just so creative, and I have proudly supported them on Patreon for like years now. And yeah, I think it would be fun to see them live. They do live shows, not just like stand-up shows, but live podcasts. And they've actually done the only time they ever had a guest on Small Town Murder or Crime and Sports is when they had Dan Cummins on from Time Suck. So anyway, so those are my favorite go-to podcasts. I also like true crime all the time. Sometimes I listen to True Crime Obsessed, but the hosts get on my nerves after a while, so I'm not listening to them currently. You know what? Okay, the very first podcast I ever listened to was Welcome to Night Vale, which I still love, but I haven't listened to in quite a while. But the first true crime podcast I ever listened to was My Favorite Murder. And this is going to be quite controversial, but I trust you guys, so I'm going to be honest with you. I stopped listening to My Favorite Murder probably about 2 years ago because I honestly just, something about Georgia and oh my God, Karen and Georgia. Something about them really rubs me the wrong way. I know that's a controversial opinion because they're considered like the queens of true crime. I loved their show, like years ago, loved it. Was a member of their fan cult, but I would say over the last like 2 years or so, it's kind of sounded different, almost like it's a chore for them to do it anymore, which is kind of sad. So I just finally gave up on it. Yeah, I feel weird saying that because it seems like everybody, when you say you like true crime podcasts, have nothing but good things to say about My Favorite Murder. But anyway, what else? Are there any other ones I like? That's pretty much it. I mean, there's plenty that I've listened to off and on, but those are the ones that I've like stuck with. So yeah, but if you guys have any, another one that I've listened to is called And That's Why We Drink, which is, it's these two friends who, one tells a paranormal story and one tells a true crime story, and they're fun and interesting. I have to do it in small doses because again, the hosts kind of irritate me a little bit. Maybe I'm a snob. I don't know. One of my best friends wanted me to listen to The Adventure Zone, which I have listened to it, and it's entertaining, but it's like kind of based on a Dungeons and Dragons type thing. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, so it was a little confusing, and didn't really stick with that for very long either. So yeah, anyway, so in the comments, suggest some podcasts for me to listen to, because I'm always looking for new ones. Okay, so the last category is movies. So my favorite movies. My favorite movie, singular, has not changed for like about 20 years. My favorite movie is and always will be, more than likely, Harold and Maude. And sometimes when I tell people that, they look at me like I'm weird. Well, they look at me like I'm weird for many other reasons, but that's one of them. Either they've never heard of the movie or they've seen it and they think it's very strange and don't understand why it's my favorite movie. But if you don't know what it was a movie that came out in 1973 with Ruth Gordon and Bud Cort. And it is about a teenage boy named Harold and an octogenarian named Maude, who meet due to their mutual love of going to funerals. And it's this very weird, very quirky, very much set in the 70s type of love story, just a unique love story. And it's glorious. Everything about it is glorious. And I could watch it over and over again, never get tired of it, and always find something else that I love. So that's my all-time favorite movie. You guys know I'm a huge horror movie fan. So I would have to say one of my favorite horror movies is a movie from France called High Tension, which I have been trying to get the roommate to watch with me, and he still has not. But that's his loss. I think it's a fantastic movie. There's all kinds of plot holes, all kinds of loose threads, all kinds of stuff that doesn't make sense in the end. But I don't care, because it was fun, and it was very well done. So there's that. Another one of my favorite horror movies is a movie called Session 9, which features the incredibly horrible acting skills of David Caruso. But it is set at an abandoned insane asylum. And it's this hazmat, I guess it's hazmat. Well, an asbestos removal team go in. And there's like 4 guys, I believe. And all of them start to lose their mind in one way or another because of being in this place. And there's just several scenes that have stuck with me from the first time I saw it. There's this one scene where the kid, it's the nephew of the owner of the company, throughout the entire movie has made it clear he doesn't like the dark. He's afraid of the dark. So of course what happens, he ends up trapped in the basement, and he's got to go down this long, long hallway with all these lights in the ceiling, and the power goes out, and he starts running. And as he's running, one light after another goes out. And it's so freaking well done and creepy that I never forgot it. So that's a great movie. And the bad acting from David Caruso just adds to the charm. And let's see, what else? What time is it? All right, I can talk for a couple more minutes. I don't want to make this video too long, you guys. Number 1, it'll take forever for me to upload it. And number 2, I don't want to overwhelm you with my babble. The Lost Boys. It's not really a horror movie, but it's in my top 3 favorite movies of all time. At one point when I was younger, I had a friend, and we would sit and we watched that movie every weekend, and we knew every word of dialogue, and we would sit there and recite the dialogue right along with the actors like a couple of freaks. But it was fun. I also love The Crow, and yeah, those are the 3 that I mentioned. Okay, so one more thing I'll say. I've also mentioned many times that I used to be a big reader. I don't know if it's because I'm older now, because my eyes are getting worse, or what. My attention span is getting worse. I can't really read. I can't really focus on books anymore, which is sad. That's the reason why I started doing all these crafts, is because I have to have my mind occupied, because I have anxiety, and if I don't, then my anxiety gets really, really bad. So I started crafting to combat the anxiety. when I couldn't read anymore, or I didn't read as much. But my favorite book might come as a surprise to some people who have read it or heard about it because it has a really bad reputation. But my very favorite book of all time is called Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. It would take me way too long to try to explain to you what the book is about, but it is basically set between a rehab, like halfway house, and a tennis academy. And it has some of the most memorable, lovable characters that I've ever come across. It's like 1,200 pages long. There's actually a 1975 song that's taken from the very first line in the book, which is surrounded by heads and bodies. And I just love it. I actually, I think it's 3 years ago, I spent all of December reading that book and loved every second of it. I actually would want to reread it at some point, but since I can't manage to finish a 200-page book, I don't know how successful I would be at attempting to reread a 1,200-page book, but we will see. Yeah, so that's my favorite book of all time. Another book that I really love is called The Devil and Nanking by Mo Hader. It was a very disturbing book. It's about this woman from England who goes to Asia because there's a rumor that there is this video that shows something horrific. But, this girl claims to have seen it, but everybody thinks she's crazy because, according to everybody else, this video doesn't exist. So she is obsessed and she tracks it down to this place and this man. And all these bizarre things happen, and it is like, it switches between Nanking in the past and England and Hong Kong, and she lives in a house that's very creepy, and there's a scene in the movie that has nothing to do with the main plot, but it's so disturbing and so unsettling to me that I actually had to put the book down and give it up for a little while because it just bothered me and it got under my skin so badly. It involved her roommate hiding in a wardrobe in his room, and I can't describe it. It's just such a great book. Very disturbing, but so well done. So that I would consider to be my second favorite book. So there you go, you guys. And I think I'm gonna wind things down because I've already talked for almost an hour. It's probably gonna take me hours just to upload this video. So I hope you stuck with me for the whole video. And those of you who did stick with me, congratulations. I give you virtual hugs. But yeah, so leave me some comments. Let me know what your favorites of any category are. Favorite books, favorite TV shows, favorite movies, favorite video games, whatever you want to tell me and share. Because I would love to get a dialogue going between you guys and me, because it always makes my day when I see that I have a comment on a video. So anyway, you guys, I really appreciate you watching, listening to me. And if you enjoyed yourself, you enjoyed my silliness today, please consider subscribing to my channel by hitting the little button. And then you can also hit the little bell, and you will be notified every time I post a video. So thanks so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. Have a great weekend, and I will talk with you soon. Bye.